If you've ever felt like time management just isn't for you, maybe it's not your fault. Maybe the system was never built for minds like yours. This video is for the thinkers, the creatives, the overwhelmed. For everyone who hates managing time, but still wants a life that feels in control. Stay with us. It's time to rethink time. Welcome to the Mind Toolkit, your space for science-backed strategies to think better, live calmer, and grow stronger. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by modern life or stuck in patterns that don't serve you, this channel is your quiet rebellion. Every week, we bring you psychology-based insights to help you master your inner world. If this video speaks to you, hit the like button, share it with someone who needs it, and don't forget to subscribe. Your next breakthrough could be just one video away. Have you ever felt like every time management system is designed for someone else? Someone who wakes up at 5 a.m., fills out a color-coded planner, and never procrastinates? If you've tried those methods and still felt scattered, exhausted, or even ashamed, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not broken. The truth is, traditional time management was built during the industrial era for factory shifts, not flexible lives. It rewards structure over spontaneity, rigidity over rhythm. And for people who are creative, neurodivergent, ADHD-prone, emotionally intuitive, or simply wired to follow energy rather than the clock, these systems can feel like wearing a suit 2 sizes too small. Tight, awkward, not made for you. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance, the mental friction when your nature clashes with imposed systems. It's not a matter of willpower, it's a matter of mismatch. You're trying to swim upstream in someone else's river. No wonder you're tired. Instead of blaming yourself, what if you redefined the problem? What if it's not about mastering time, but understanding yourself? What if the goal isn't about beating the clock, but about aligning with your own internal rhythm? Many successful people, writers, designers, entrepreneurs, thrive not because they mastered a strict routine, but because they embraced a personalized one. They listened to their mental energy, their emotional cycles, their creative bursts. They design work around when they function best, not just how much they can do. And that's where everything begins to shift. Because once you stop forcing and start aligning, time doesn't feel like a cage. It begins to feel like a current, one you can finally ride. We've been told for decades that productivity is the holy grail, that the more you do, the more you're worth. But what if that idea is not just wrong, it's harmful? The hustle culture, especially in modern American society, has turned busyness into a badge of honor. If you're not exhausted, if your calendar is overbooked, people assume you're lazy or unmotivated. But let's pause and ask, productive for what? And at what cost? Psychologists have long warned about toxic productivity, the kind that pushes people beyond their natural limits, leading not to success, but to burnout, anxiety, and chronic dissatisfaction. You might be checking off tasks all day, but still feeling empty. That's not success. That's a system failure. True productivity isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters. It's not about being constantly in motion, but about being meaningfully in motion. And that shift only happens when we stop measuring ourselves by hours worked and start measuring by energy invested, values honored, and peace preserved. Many Americans are waking up to this now. They're realizing that life isn't a race. It's not about who dies with the most checklists. It's about alignment, about presence, about feeling alive during the day, not just relieved at night when it's over. When we reject the myth that busier means better, we create space. Space to think. Space to breathe. Space to ask ourselves, what's actually worth my time? And in that space, something powerful begins to grow. Clarity. And with clarity, we can finally begin designing time not as a burden, but as a tool. When we stop obsessing over the clock, we begin to notice something unexpected: energy. Because time is fixed, but energy fluctuates. And the biggest mistake we make is treating every hour like it's equal. It isn't. Psychologists call this circadian alignment, the science of syncing your tasks with your body's natural highs and lows. Morning for some is a peak of clarity. For others, it's fog and friction. Yet our culture expects everyone to perform like machines, with standardized output, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. But we're not machines. We're rhythms. We're patterns. And ignoring those patterns is like planting seeds at the wrong season. No matter how hard you work, things won't grow right. The most successful creatives, entrepreneurs, and even athletes don't just manage hours, they protect their energy. They know when their mind is sharpest, when their emotions are most stable, and when their body can push hardest. They build their schedule around those moments, not against them. This is not laziness. This is intelligent design. And the truth is, once you align your day with your natural energy, something shifts. Tasks feel smoother, focus feels deeper, and motivation stops needing to be forced because now it's flowing. So instead of fighting your fatigue or guilt-tripping your procrastination, start listening. Where does your energy rise? Where does it drop? That's your real planner. That's your real calendar. Because when you stop treating time as a cage and start treating energy as a compass, you don't just get more done, you start becoming who you're meant to be. Once your energy becomes the compass, the next step is to stop overloading your map. Most people think big change requires big plans, endless to-do lists, tightly packed calendars, and rigid time blocks. But ironically, the more tightly you try to control your day, the more it slips through your fingers. Why? Because life isn't linear. It bends, interrupts, surprises, and so must your system. That's where micro-planning comes in, the art of doing less with more intention. Psychologists who study behavioral momentum often say small wins lead to big shifts. When the brain experiences completion, even of a tiny task, it releases dopamine, the chemical of motivation. This is not tricking yourself, it's training yourself to succeed in short bursts that build real progress. So instead of writing 12 tasks you'll never finish, try one core action per day. Just one thing that matters. Not the loudest thing, not the most urgent thing, the most meaningful. Stack that with a few micro goals, 5-minute sprints, one email reply, 10 minutes of focus. It's not laziness, it's mastery in disguise. It builds a rhythm that you can sustain even when life gets unpredictable. Because when you stop chasing perfection and start building consistency, that's when the macro change begins to quietly, powerfully unfold. The moment you stop obsessing over packed schedules and start building simple, intentional systems, you begin to notice something unexpected. Freedom isn't found in more planning, it's found in stronger boundaries. Because no matter how well you design your day, it only takes one notification, one unexpected request, one emotional vampire to hijack your focus. And when you don't protect your time, the world will consume it for you. This is where the real shift happens. Realizing that control doesn't come from detailed calendars, it comes from courageous limits. Psychologists studying decision fatigue found that the average adult makes over 35,000 decisions a day. Every yes costs mental energy. Every interruption drains focus. Without boundaries, even the best time management collapses under the weight of other people's urgency. That's why saying no isn't selfish. It's strategic. It's how leaders protect clarity, how creators protect flow, how parents protect sanity. A strong boundary isn't a wall to keep people out. It's a gate to let the right things in. For many Americans, especially those raised to equate busyness with virtue, boundaries can feel uncomfortable at first. But boundaries are not barriers, they are bridges to the life you actually want. Because when you reclaim your time, you also reclaim your identity. You remember what matters. You get space to breathe, to think, to exist without constant demand.
And from that space, something powerful begins to emerge. The calm confidence that you are the one steering the day, not the chaos around you. Once you build boundaries, a beautiful space begins to open. And in that space, you can finally stop forcing yourself into systems that never felt like home. You begin to work not against your brain, but with it. Psychologists call this flow state, that deeply focused, almost timeless zone where everything clicks. You lose track of the clock. Distractions fade. You feel immersed, alive, effortless. But flow doesn't come through pressure or punishment. It comes through alignment. When your task matches your interest, your skill, and your inner rhythm. This is why force rarely works. Forcing motivation. Forcing early mornings. Forcing yourself to follow someone else's plan. The brain resists it, not because you're lazy, but because it's misaligned. But when you work in harmony with how your mind naturally operates, your focus expands. Creativity sharpens. Time slows down. You don't need constant discipline because your energy is moving with you, not against you. And that's the ultimate lesson. Time management isn't about control. It's about connection to your values, your energy, your purpose. And that connection leads to peace, not pressure. So if you've ever felt like time management just wasn't for you, maybe it's because the way it was taught never truly saw you. Thank you for spending these minutes with us. If this message spoke to something deep inside you, consider subscribing to the channel. It's a small click, but a big way to say, I'm ready to live better. Like, share, or save this for the days when you forget. You're not behind. You're just beginning to move in the right direction.